Now all the marbles, Joe, are on Nvidia, which you own, which you bought at the end of April in your rebalance. And now the pressure is on, because this could determine whether this August swoon bleeds into the fall, well, or not.
This company has the ability to change the game with one swing, and it's already done that. If you go back to Q2, look at the performance of the S&P from the beginning of the quarter until May 24th, the day that Nvidia reported. The S&P was only up 14 basis points. Subsequent to Nvidia reporting, Nvidia rallies 38%. The S&P rallies 8% into the end of the quarter. So this, without question, is going to be a potential catalyst for both price and time. It's a catalyst for price because we are in a seasonally weak period, and you have the potential here, if Nvidia is able to deliver, for price to recover and overcome that seasonal weakness. In terms of time, if Nvidia is to disappoint, then that seasonally weak period is going to extend even further. So I look at this, we're going to talk a lot about fundamentals, what the options market is pricing. But to me, this is about sentiment. This is about whether or not Nvidia can change the sentiment in the market. And the reason for that, if there's a signature for the 2023 equity rally, it's Nvidia.
Well, there's no doubt about that. The stock's up 200%. Year to date. So, Liz Young, what's riding on this? Look, Jackson Hole starts tomorrow. Powell speaks in a couple days on Friday. And obviously, given what's happened with interest rates in the last month, that's critically important. I think we all get that. But given what the stock market, particularly the NASDAQ and tech, have done in the last month, I mean, you can make the argument that this event this afternoon might matter more for where this market really is going to go. If the leadership group loses its leadership on a more, determined time frame, market's got a problem.
Yeah, I mean, Nvidia's been the poster child for this AI run and all of this optimism that's occurred. And some of it, perhaps rightfully so. They did increase guidance, and you could argue that there were fundamentals behind that. But the implied move is big. It gapped up the last time it reported earnings. Usually things back and fill that gap. I do think that there's a lot riding on it, and I completely agree with Joe that this is a sentiment move. There's sort of this feeling of what if it's contagious, right? What if it goes poorly and then that kind of ripples through the rest of the sector? That could absolutely occur at a time right before we get a Jackson Hole speech where most of market participants are expecting it to be hawkish. I actually think if it's hawkish, that's probably okay because that's what we're expecting. If it's dovish, there's sort of this expectation too that, oh, that would drive a rally. They're not going to go as far as we thought. It's not going to be as strong. I think if it's dovish, it sends more of a message that they don't have the tools to solve the problem.
Really? Although, I mean, I don't know. I could see a dovish, speech from the chair sort of taking the air out of where rates have gone, right? And that, rates have done some of the Fed chair's work for him over the last 3-4 weeks or so. Equity markets cooled a little bit.
Yeah,
don't you think the risk?
True.
You think the risk is to the downside or upside for rates coming out of Jackson Hole?
Down. I think it's down. But so it's not so much that I would expect a dovish comment because of what rates have done. It's more so there's also this underlying murmur of what if they start signaling that they'd be comfortable with something above 2% target. If that's the message, and that's received as dovish, I think the interpretation then by markets maybe initially is positive because it's a dovish message, but then later you start to get to the point where you realize, well, wait a minute, does that mean that their tools aren't fixing it? Does that mean that we have to give up on the target, we have to give up on the goal because we don't have the tools to fix this anymore?